Hi Bethany, how are you?
It's hard not to be so much.
You have no sound? You have sound now, right?
Is this is
Can you hear now? Oh, thanks. Yeah, we love the little puppy.
what kind of grits
It's so cold here. It's freezing here. It's like 15 degrees. We don't have snow here. It was very easy coming home until we hit about an hour away.
We got the new dog. It's so cute. You can't see his face right now. You gotta turn around. She's no, it's I know, me too.
I don't. Yeah, it's fun. We had a girl dog, Westy. We called he all the time. This one's a he. We call her she constantly. I don't know what. Something wrong with us.
I don't even know what it is.
The cotton candy grapes, Luke.
No,
He's so good.
I didn't pineapple.
What? I mean, I'm on live. I mean, we're all on live. I know, but you're.
How long would these take to grow?
About 2 weeks. About 2 weeks.
No.
Yeah. To root.
I mean the cotton candy. Pineapple.
Oh, 2 years maybe.
What?
Come on. What the heck is going on with the ramp? Maybe they didn't get a notification because I went live so many times.
Shoot. Oh, you got her, Mom?
Yeah, I got her.
No, him. Yeah, I keep forgetting.
She's probably because my hands are cold. But yeah, my hands are cold. Are my hands cold? Where is it? Where is everybody? Is there something big going on, Beth? You just noticed what? What? Oh, here's Casbat. Oh, I thought we were. Hey, hello. Well, now you're going to say hello?
Okay.
Jimmy, you think maybe she has to go to the bathroom now?
Yeah, let me try.
Here, go ahead. We'll see. Jimmy's all worried because she hasn't gone to the bathroom yet. Oh boy, that was some day. Hi, Ange. She will take. I don't know. She hasn't yet. Hopefully. It is so cold here. Oh my gosh. It's colder here than where we were. It's like what, 15, 14 degrees here. But no snow. An hour away from here, we didn't have any of that snow. Did you go at all? I know. It's the more you say it's a he, it's a she, the more.
I think this broke, Daddy. I need help. I'll try. Yeah.
Nervous. Our mini Jack Russell. Oh yeah. Hi, kindness cake.
My sheets, came off my bed.
So what happened? I didn't see anything about the. There goes the ice maker. There goes the ice maker. I didn't see anything about the Frazee case. What happened? Did you see anything? Anybody? See anything? Anything earth-shattering happened today in the Frazee case? Wow. Something did, Hurricane Hunter? Something earth-shattering happened today in the Frazee case? Oh yeah, right, kindness cake. Hey, Eva. You haven't seen it? Well, let's find out what's happening earth-shattering. I can't believe. I wonder earth-shattering which way. Hang on. Oh, please don't be hamsters in the computer tonight. Well, I'm not just gonna let her go down. You can't, you gotta be on her. Okay, sweetie. Let's see. So, Frazee. Trial. What is today? Day 7? Oh, okay, wait a second. What's this? Is this a new one? Patrick Frazee. Stop. Frazee's friend testified. He said Berreth was never coming back. 2 people who worked alongside Crystal Lee Kenny in Idaho said Kenny appeared sad, quiet, and resigned when she returned to work after she allegedly cleaned up a murder scene in Colorado. Later Tuesday morning, a very good friend of Frazee's discussed a trip he and Frazee made in which Frazee worked to establish an alibi. The friend said, and a CBI crime scene analyst discussed the tiny spots of possible blood spatter found inside Kelsey Berreth's home, and how there were much longer streaks of possible blood on the side of the floorboards that she processed after they were ripped up. On Tuesday afternoon, an arson expert testified about the burn area at the Frazee property and how bodies break down in a fire. And a friend of Frazee's testified what he told her after Berreth went missing. After a final break, 3 women whom Frazee communicated with in the months and years surrounding Berreth's disappearance, testified about his behavior toward Berreth, which they said was abnormal. In her previous testimony, Kenny said her ex-lover, Patrick Frazee, 33, had demanded she drive from Idaho to the nearby town of Woodland Park to clean up the scene where he had allegedly killed his 29-year-old fiancée. He's accused of killing her on Thanksgiving Day 2018 in her Woodland Park condo. He is also accused of soliciting Kenny to help him carry out the murder. Okay, so Frazee faces 8, so let's see. What's going on? Oh, okay, we have to go down here. Hang on. I was like, what? Court began at 8:35 a.m. Tuesday. First, the state called DeLynn Bird, who worked with Kenny as a nurse at St. Luke's Magic Valley Hospital in the recovery room. She said Kenny doesn't work at the hospital anymore and that they didn't socialize outside of work. Prosecutor Beth Reed asked if she heard Frazee, and Bird said she had, but not until she started seeing the media coverage of this case. Kenny never talked about Frazee at work. Kenny said she was making a trip to Colorado. She said that she knew Kenny left to go to Colorado on November 23rd, the day after the alleged murder, because a co-worker had to pick up Kenny's shift. Oh, she wasn't supposed to be there on the 23rd, right? She was supposed to be there on the 24th. She didn't see Kenny again until November 28th, when she came into work at 7 p.m. Bird said she noticed Kenny looked tired. On December 26th, Bird learned from a coworker that Kenny was linked to Berreth's disappearance. That evening, she said Kenny seemed quiet at work. When Bird asked her about Berreth, Kenny said the press may hound them at work about this case. And then she did what she had to do to keep herself and her children safe, Bird said. Bird asked about Berreth's cell phone, and Kenny shrugged. Bird said she didn't know what it meant and if she was involved or not. Kenny appeared to be flat and resigned, which was not typical for her. Let's see. During the cross-examination, defense attorney Adam Steigerwald asked for more information on the day Kenny appeared tired. Bird said she didn't ask why she appeared that way. The state called another nurse, Allison Wright, to the witness stand next. She works at St. Luke's Magic Valley Hospital and filled in for Kenny's shift on November 24th. So she was gone the 23rd and the 24th now. Her alibi, so who was using her badge? She said she saw Kenny in passing, but only knew her professionally. They had texted about logistics for Wright to fill in for Kenny, and Wright said Kenny had told her she needed to do something in Colorado, but she didn't specify what on November 23rd. Wright saw Kenny in the recovery room, and Kenny verified Wright would cover her shift and thanked her for doing so. The next time Wright said she remembered seeing Kenny was December 26th. That day, she said Kenny didn't look good, and it appeared that something was wrong. She's normally happy and talkative, Wright said, and that day she just seemed so sad and quiet. Okay. When she asked if Kenny was okay, she was quiet before shaking her head and saying no. Kenny said she had gotten into a bad situation. Kenny asked if Wright had heard about Berreth missing out of Colorado, and Wright said yes, and Kenny said she had gotten mixed up in that. That's what Wright said, but she didn't explain any details. Wright said that she recalled Kenny told her that she did what she had to do to keep herself and her kids safe, and she feared for her safety. That was the last time Wright saw Kenny. Prosecutor Jennifer Veman asked if Wright was trained in cleaning up bodily fluids, and Wright said she was. But there was no formal training other than cleaning it all up. She said they don't use bleach to clean up blood. Now, a close friend details how they switched cars in Idaho before the alleged murder. Megan Garrison of Jerome, Idaho, was the next witness from the prosecution. She told them that her ex-husband and Kenny's ex-husband worked together, and that they knew each other through that connection, and over time they became close friends. They had borrowed each other's vehicles in the past, and Garrison took Kenny's truck to help her move, and Kenny would borrow her car because it was more fuel efficient. Garrison confirmed she owned a Volkswagen Passat. She said Kenny would talk vaguely about her trips to Colorado, where she had horses and a dog shared with a Colorado man. She also would visit her mom there, she said. Garrison first heard about Frazee the night before Kenny married her now ex-husband. On Thanksgiving, Garrison asked Kenny if she could borrow her pickup truck on Thanksgiving now, right? Which Kenny allowed. They swapped vehicles at Jerome Walmart, which was halfway between their homes. The following evening, Garrison mentioned it was pouring rain when they exchanged cars, so their conversation was short. Sometime on November 24th or 25th, they switched back at the same Walmart. Affidavit details what happens in the days leading up to and after Berreth's death. In mid-December, Kenny reached out to Garrison to let her know that the FBI may contact her to search her car. Hey, listen, FBI might be there to search your car. Kenny said she provided buccal swabs for them. During a cross-examination, Steigerwald confirmed that the Volkswagen had expired tags. He also noted that Kenny texted Garrison that she was staying at her place that night as an alibi in case Kenny's husband came looking for her. Steigerwald then asked about a gun that Garrison had in her car, and she said she keeps a 9mm loaded gun under the driver's seat in case she needs to protect herself. She checked on the gun after Kenny called her about the FBI and noticed that there were 6 bullets in the magazine. She said she didn't remember if there was one in the chamber. When asked, Garrison said that she remembered telling the FBI there was 1 round missing. On a redirect, Veman asked if there was any indication that the gun had been used, and Garrison said no. Special agents collected Berreth's gun from Kelsey's friend, Special Agent Rodney Draper, who has worked with the FBI since 2002, was called to the witness stand next. He has worked out of the Boise office since 2013. Draper said he was called in around December 15th or 16th to go to Twin Falls, Idaho to work the case. He conducted multiple interviews and searches in connection to this case. This included helping with Kenny's home, searching Kenny's home and her cell phone, and interviewing her ex-husband, Chad Lee. On December 17th, Lee told Draper that Kenny had bought a new phone only a few weeks before the interview. The Twin Falls County Sheriff's Office seized Kenny's phone on December 19th. Draper helped to extract information from her phone and downloaded it on a disk to give to the CBI. He didn't have much information on the case as a whole at that point. On December 21st, Draper learned that Kenny had given Berreth's gun, which she allegedly brought back with her to Idaho, per Frazee's request, to her high school friend, Mark Pearson, when she returned to Idaho from Colorado. Draper met Pearson in a parking lot in Boise, where Pearson works in construction. Draper said Pearson, he had the gun zipped in a black synthetic bag with a box of ammo in the front seat of his truck. Draper took photos before collecting it. From there, it was transported to the Denver FBI office for further testing. The state entered the gun as evidence after showing it in court. Draper confirmed it was not loaded, and he used zip ties to ensure it did not move. He did not open the box in court. The gun was not loaded when he received it, he said. During cross-examination, Steigerwald asked if Draper had scanned any of Kenny's burner's phones, and he said he had not. He only scanned the phone Kenny had owned for a few weeks. The next witness was on their way to Cripple Creek from out of town. The court took a recess at 9:38 a.m. Prosecutor Veman said they are ahead of schedule. Okay, and then the burn pit. After a mid-morning break, prosecutors called up Twin Falls Police Officer Josh Hayes. Hayes currently works as a detective on the Special Investigation Unit for the Twin Falls Sheriff's Office. On the evening of December 16th, the CBI reached out to him and briefed him on the missing persons case. They asked him to look into his cell phone pings and phone numbers that were listed for Kenny. He said they needed him to get a search warrant for her home, which was in Kimberly, about 8 miles outside of Twin Falls. Hayes said he was able to get a warrant for buccal swabs from Kenny, which an evidence technician at the department performed. The woman testified after Hayes and confirmed she collected the buccal swabs from Kenny at the police department on December 17th. Hayes also got a warrant to search Kenny's home. He, along with Special Agent Draper, downloaded the information on December 19th, and Hayes took a copy with him back to Twin Falls. Not her home, her phone, I'm sorry. As they downloaded the information, Hayes said Colorado Bureau of Investigation agent Greg Slater asked him to look for the name Pearson. Hayes said he found him through Facebook. On December 17th, authorities got a search warrant for Kenny's home. There it is. He noted that he received consent from Lee Kenny, then husband, when he tried to call Kenny. They searched the home again on December 21st. On that day, Slater told Hayes to look for a burn pile that may contain the remains of a purse, documents, and a cell phone. He was also instructed to look for a bat. He found a burn pile about 500 feet away from their home. The state published multiple photos in the courtroom. The first showed a burn pile and a separate burn pit in the back of Kenny's home, and the second was a closer look at the burn. Lee told Hayes that was not where they would normally burn items from their property. Other photos showed the burned ground and rubble and a very small piece of an electronic device. Hayes said it resembled something in a phone. They also saw glass, which could have been from the phone, he said. The prosecution also showed pictures of a circuit board from an electronic device, more burned pieces of the possible phone, and a burned glass screen protector. They found paperwork where the edges hadn't been burned, but each piece crumbled apart upon examination, he said. They gathered what they could for evidence, Hayes said, and transported it to the CBI on April 1st, 2019. Some of the items, including the burned cell phone pieces and burned screen cover, were shown in court Tuesday morning. During the cross-examination, Steigerwald confirmed with Hayes that some of the items were completely burned and others were left behind because the fire wasn't hot enough. One of Frazee's very, very good friends, Robert Slagle, was brought to the witness stand. They've known each other for more than 10 years, he said, and were friends in November and December of 2018. Slagle said Frazee told him about a package at Berreth's townhome, and around December 2nd, he asked Slagle to pick it up for him. Hold on, let me see if this is anything. Were they? That my mic is off. My mic is off and it's making me cut in and sound like a robot. Hang on. Great.
Is it better now? Let me see if it's better now. Is it better now? Yes? Much better? Okay, you didn't hear anything before? Okay, it just sounded robotic? Okay, all right. So Slagle said Frazee told him about a package at Berreth's townhouse, and around December 2nd, he sent Slagle to pick it up for him. Slagle said Frazee told him that the Woodland Park Police Department had reached out to let him know about the package. The state published surveillance video that showed Slagle at Berreth's home picking up the package and leaving. He said he noticed the surveillance cameras when he got out of his truck, but he also had seen it on previous visits to her townhome. He noted that it's fairly obvious. He said he didn't know if Frazee had ever noticed the cameras before. Now, attorney Dan May asked if they went to collect alibi evidence after the date of the alleged murder. Slagle confirmed they had, but wasn't sure of the date. He said he just knew it was after Berreth had been reported missing. Hey, what are you doing walking around here? You can't just be walking around here. Okay. Where are we? Oh, he wasn't sure about the date. He said he just knew that it was after Berreth had been reported missing. They first went to the East Credit Union and then drove by a Safeway and a gas station. Slagle said he didn't recall going to any other locations. The state published a photo of Frazee and Slagle at the teller window of the entrance, I think they were saying that. At this point, Slagle said Frazee told him he made bank deposits on Thanksgiving afternoon. He said Frazee told him he went to Safeway on November 22nd, which is why they drove by it. He also said about the same thing about the gas station. And when May asked if Frazee went over a timeline with Slagle about November 22nd, Slagle confirmed he repeated it several times. May handed Slagle an envelope, and while he said he didn't know whose handwriting it was, he didn't know if it was Frazee's. The envelope appeared to have a timeline written on it. Slagle said the information on the timeline appeared to match what Frazee had recounted to him on several occasions about November 22nd. May continued to ask more questions about this alibi obtaining trip. He asked if Frazee told Slagle that he was in Woodland Park around 4:30 p.m. that day, and Slagle said no. He noted that Frazee and Berreth exchanged Kaylee at Berreth's home, but didn't know the details of it. May asked if Frazee mentioned anything about Berreth eating Thanksgiving dinner with him, and Slagle said he recalled something about that Berreth was preparing a meal per Frazee, and that Berreth expected him to eat with her. Slagle said Frazee never mentioned anything about going into the home for dinner or anything else that day. He said he remembered Frazee telling him that he, Berreth, and Kaylee went to Nash Ranch the day before Thanksgiving, November 21st, and they returned to Frazee's ranch. Berreth had indicated that night that she wanted to get an apartment closer to her work in Pueblo, Slagle said. As they drove to the Frazee ranch that evening, Frazee stopped the car and threw up near the Florissant post office. Slagle said Berreth went to the Woodland Park Walmart to buy medication for Frazee for an upset stomach and diarrhea. Nice. Very nice. In December, Slagle drove to Nash Ranch with Frazee, and he mentioned that he and Berreth had broken up, he said. Frazee never mentioned Kenny, Slagle said, apart from saying that there was a person in Idaho who was helping him sell dogs with whom he was training a horse for. Steigerwald cross-examined Slagle and started off by asking about surveillance video showing him picking up the package at Berreth's front door. Steigerwald said it wasn't clear in the video that he was picking up a package. He then asked about Slagle's relationship with Frazee. When asked, Slagle said Frazee never mentioned anything about a mob contact in the mountains, which had been mentioned in a testimony on Friday, or said anything along the lines of no body, no murder, Slagle said. He would have remembered if his friend had said that. CBI crime analysts discussed possible blood found on the side of floorboards. Prosecutors then called the CBI crime analyst Tanya Atkinson to the stand, who is a latent print examiner. What? Print examiner, that has been trained in bloodstain pattern evidence. She told the court she had testified around 70 times in various cases and had been admitted as an expert in half of those cases. The court had admitted her a crime scene expert for the Frazee case. Okay. She photographed and processed Berreth's townhouse on December 6th and on December 19th and through the 21st during the searches. She testified that she also processed the scene at Nash Ranch on December 21st and in February of 2019. She testified Tuesday that she was called to Berreth's apartment because of apparent blood on the toilet inside the home, and she said a presumptive test was done on the possible blood and on other items inside the house. She testified that during one of the late December reviews of Berreth's house, she found wipe marks on various parts of the apartment that made her believe it was cleaned. Prosecutors also showed several exhibits which appeared to be tiny blood stains on various items in the townhome, as well as the floorboards that were pulled after Kenny gave her statement to the investigators. Atkinson said there was possible blood stains on the sides of the floorboards, which she said a presumptive blood test showed was positive for blood. Several of the floorboards showed possible blood stains that went along nearly the full length of their sides. She explained how she swabbed the evidence for potential blood and how she packaged and sealed the items as evidence. Most of the exhibits shown were various items from inside the apartment Atkinson had processed, and she had shown multiple floorboards. May, the district attorney, then showed Atkinson a photo of the discolored portions of the hay bale inside the Nash Ranch barn that Kenny and others have talked about during the trial. The discolored area was shown to be about 38 inches by 30 inches, and May then had her measure the bottom of the tote, which was about 38 inches by 20 inches, she said. She testified that she saw no other areas of discolored hay inside the barn when she processed it. The court took a lunch break at 12 to just after 1. Wow, they got a lot done. After lunch, Atkinson retook the stand and was cross-examined by Steigerwald. She told him for the first time she was at Berreth's townhome was December 6th, and she knew that it had already been searched by police and processed by the CBI, and that Berreth's parents had stayed there since the alleged crime was committed. She confirmed that Berreth's father found the suspected blood on the toilet. She also confirmed that Blue Star blood reagent was used inside the bathroom. Atkinson said she told Steigerwald that she went to a waste management facility on December 17th to look for trash that Frazee had dumped that day and confirmed she did a presumptive blood test on a tarp with a brown or red substance on it. Steigerwald walked Atkinson back through the December 19th and 20th processing of Berreth's home and pointed out the tiny size of the alleged blood spatter that was left behind, and stressed that many of the tiny spots were not found until December 20th. He asked her if any of the spots on which investigators used Blue Star had turned up presumptive negatives, and she said that they collected from presumptive positive spots. She said presumptive tests from various parts of the apartment did turn up negative, particularly under a few floorboards and near the fireplace floorboard. On redirect, Atkinson said crime scene analysts stopped collecting once they had a dozen pieces with presumptive positive samples of blood. She said at that point they felt they had collected enough samples. When asked questions from the jury, Atkinson reiterated that investigators collected samples from the discolored portions of the hay bale and that she did not measure the diameters of the stains on Berreth's floor. Another CBI crime analyst, Eric Bryant, was called to the stand, and he testified that he took samples of the hay bale, which were shown in court. Prosecutors then called Adams County Fire Rescue Investigations Chief Jerry Means to the stand, a fire investigator of nearly 30 years, who also worked with the CBI before retiring early this year, and who entered as the state's arson expert in the case. Means testified he was contacted on December 21st to help investigate the case and said he had experience dealing with melted plastic and fire, as well as investigations involving human remains. He told May, when shown a picture of the burn area on the Frazee Ranch in which he was present, it was fairly obvious that there was a black plastic melted into the gravel and soil in the area, and that black plastic had fused with portions of the soil. He described the two types of plastic and how they would melt down, and said that the melted shape of the black tote would be consistent with what would happen when that type of plastic of which the black tote was made was compromised. The black plastic of which the black tote was comprised. Means then discussed what could happen to bodies if they are burned in that manner that Kenny had testified to. He said that the wet area Kenny had discussed seemed to be more oily than wet, and went to explain how it was common for the body to liquefy in a fire such as the one at the Frazee Ranch. He also said that fat and skin can liquefy and drip, creating a sticky, oily material. He testified that eventually a fire will break down muscles and bone, and that burning a body can produce soil staining like the oily substance seen further downhill from the burn area. He said the black plastic and oily substances would have been burned downhill from the burn site. Means also said that it was possible that motor oil caused the oily and wet-looking stain in the soil, but he couldn't say the stain in question was caused by motor oil, human oil, all three, or a combination. But again, he testified that the burn area that he saw was consistent with the story shared by prosecutors. He said that the tote would have liquefied first and that the metal trough would have contained the black plastic, save for the holes at the bottom, which was consistent with the scene that had been described so far during the trial. Means said extremities will burn first and the torso and upper pelvis will be the last to burn, and that if something fell on a body's head in a fire, it could disintegrate. He also testified that depending on how long bones are exposed to fire, they are prone to disintegrating too if they burn for long enough. You can pick one up with a gloved hand and just poof, it turns to nothing. It turns to dust, he testified Tuesday. He said that animal antlers are tougher than human bones, but can also be mistaken for human bones because of the marrow they contain inside. Steigerwald then got his turn to cross-examine Means. He asked about the black plastic residue about the nails that should have remained in the fire's remnants because of the burnt pallets, which Means had told prosecutors would have been picked up by the magnets if they were used. Steigerwald continued to ask Means about the clasps for the black plastic tote and why they were not found in the fire, to which Means reported he did not find them. In answering jury questions, Means said he did not recall getting the odor of the burned human body at the scene, the odor. But upon a questioning from May on follow-up, he said that the month between when Berreth's body was allegedly burned and when he toured the scene could have dramatically changed the odor of the scene. A friend of Frazee's said he told her she's never coming back. Prosecutors called Lucci to the stand, a woman whose horses Frazee cared for about 5.5 years. She said that initially he was a very private person, but eventually opened up and started talking about what she was, things, surface level type things, and like dating and love interests. She told prosecutors she had met Kenny once when she came to her house with Frazee. She testified that she found out Frazee had a daughter when she walked by his truck and saw Kaylee inside when she was about 4 months old. She testified that Frazee told her he was in a relationship with the girl's mother, but didn't learn she was pregnant until she had the baby, something the court had previously heard during the trial. Okay, Lucci and Frazee, Frazee said his daughter's mother did not want to be a mother, so he would have to be the only parent moving forward. And she testified that the conversation happened sometime in the spring of 2018. She described Frazee as being the happiest she had seen him, but said Frazee never mentioned Berreth by name. Lucci said Slater, the CBI agent, called her in January of 2019 about the conversation. She said she recounted him telling her that Frazee, she recounted telling him Frazee had been vague during the discussions, and that she told him about what Frazee had said about Berreth not wanting to be a mother. She testified she remembered Frazee paying an attorney to try and get custody of the child, and told that to Slater as well. She told the court that Frazee went to her house on December 20th and that she felt concerned for him and asked him how he was doing. She testified that Frazee told her some details about the search of his property that had occurred days earlier, and she felt some of what the investigators, she asked him, and that had occurred days earlier, and he felt some of what the investigators did to his property seemed a little mean and unnecessary. She said that they talked about November 22nd at the time. She testified that Frazee told her he went to Berreth's to pick up his daughter because he wanted to run errands and to give Berreth her gun back, claiming to Lucci that Berreth had threatened suicide. He claimed that he didn't want to give it back, but did anyway. She said in court Tuesday that Frazee expressed frustration of telling the story so many times, but she told him she had never heard it before. She said Frazee also discussed that day several scenarios regarding what might have happened to Berreth. First, she said he told her that Berreth might have flown away because she had a lot of friends who were pilots. He also told her that she might have gotten mixed up with the wrong crowd in Pueblo. But she testified that she instead asked him about the phone ping in Idaho, which was reported by media outlets at that point. She testified he didn't answer. She said she offered to him that maybe Berreth tried going home but died by suicide, or maybe Berreth was coming back. Oh, she's never coming back. Luce testified that Frazee told her, though she admitted in court that she did not initially tell the story and only told prosecutors a few weeks ago when she was subpoenaed. She told the court that sometime between August and October of 2019, Frazee told her he wanted to raise his daughter. That's wrong. I got the date wrong. That's 2018. Raise his daughter with someone else. Later, she testified Frazee told her, I wanted Berreth to help with medical expenses before. Now I just want her gone. Ashley Porter, one of Frazee's defense attorneys, cross-examined Luce, however you say her last name, and pointed out that she wasn't entirely truthful when she spoke with Slater on January 10th. Luce responded she was truthful, but did not feel comfortable at the time talking about what Frazee had confided in her, and admittedly that she left some information out. She was then excused, and the court took another recess as both of the defense attorneys said they felt sick. Seriously? The jury was kept outside the courtroom for the next witness as a juror had an issue. Prosecutors called Kayla Dougherty, a personal and professional acquaintance of Frazee, who said she and Frazee had dated in the spring of 2016 for a couple of months. She said that her and Frazee hadn't spoken since spring 2018, but he cared for some of her horses. She testified that Frazee told her about the vastness of Teller County and that it would be hard to find a body during a discussion in 2015. When Veman, the prosecutor, asked Dougherty if she remembered a separate statement Frazee made about saying a body could be hidden anywhere in Colorado, she said no. She said that the topic may have come up the second time, but she didn't remember. Veman asked if Frazee told her that someone could carry a body on a horse somewhere no one would find it, to which she replied yes. Dougherty said she told police that information when she interviewed and that she agreed with Frazee when they discussed the topic. Upon cross-examination, Steigerwald noted that she told police she first pointed out the statement about hiding a body to Frazee. The court then worked to decide if the testimony was admissible since the jury was left outside. Veman argued the testimony was relevant because Berreth's body still hasn't been found, and Steigerwald argued that the testimony had no logical relevance. But Judge Scott Sells ruled the testimony was admissible, despite Steigerwald's objections, because it established Frazee's knowledge of the Teller County area. After the jury was let back into the court, Dougherty again took the stand and then went back through the aforementioned testimony in front of the jury and was subsequently released. The state then called Savannah Griesby to the stand, with whom Frazee had been shoeing horses for about 9 years. She said she and Frazee mostly talked about things intermittently, mostly about horses, and that, what's going on? Okay, I thought someone was texting me again. And that he had asked her to dinner around October of 2018, which she thought she could not make. But the court was shown a text message thread between the two from November 21st through December 4th, which was admitted as evidence. The messages showed Frazee had texted her just after midnight on November 21st, and that they talked about Kaylee and a mess she had made, and that he texted her about getting there when he gets done. Though Dougherty said she was not sure what he was referring to and told him to go to bed, they told each other Happy Thanksgiving in messages the next day. The messages showed she texted Frazee, "Hey," on 10:44 a.m. on November 23rd, and that he didn't respond until 2:33 p.m., also saying, "Hey." The messages showed she asked him how his day went, to which he responded, "It was long, but life was about to slow down. They talked about meeting up. The messages showed, but did not do so. Okay. On November 26th, she reached out saying she was thinking about him. And on November 28th, after more messages about him apparently not taking her money for shoeing her horses, he told her not to take a sassy tone with him and that he was the all-inclusive, I'm sure this must say package, they have passage here. Later that day, they both talked about being stubborn, and Frazee said Griesby had met her match, according to the messages. The two exchanged more messages on December 1st, and she texted him on December 3rd, but did not respond to the messages showed. On December 4th, the messages showed Frazee apologized, saying life had taken... Excuse me. Where was I? Sassy, what are you doing? I lost my place. It's crazy. I can't. Where the heck was I? Oh, that life had taken some awkward turns. She said she didn't need details and that she understood. Then they did not speak again until December 10th and discussed hanging out that week. But Frazee said he had an issue with his truck and couldn't. Sassy, what are you doing? The next day, the text showed she said she was sorry to him, that was the last time they spoke via text. Griesby said, and she testified that she didn't recall speaking to him on the phone since either. Dougherty told Veman she was not aware Berreth was missing while they talked, but later learned she was. She also testified that she knew little about Frazee and Berreth's daughter, and that she didn't remember Frazee saying much about Berreth other than claiming she was bipolar and in rehab, and that he wanted full custody of Kaylee. Wow, this is some day today. Wow, what a day to miss here. Defense attorney said the jury did not cross-examine her or ask for further questions. The state called Catherine Donahue next, another woman with whom Frazee shoed horses. For whom? She said they would talk every time he came to do so, and that he mentioned one time he had friends in Idaho. She said when she first met with him. Frazee said he was free, meaning he had no kids or wife. Jimmy, I think this little guy, did you? Donahue recounted an incident about December 2015 in which Frazee showed up with Kaylee. She said she assumed he was babysitting, to which Frazee replied that the girl was his daughter. Donahue told the court Tuesday that she was surprised because she did not know he was dating anyone. She also said that Frazee, as others have testified, he told them, and said that he did not know Berreth was pregnant until she went into labor. She said that after Kaylee was born, Frazee would bring the baby around during farrier work, but that he never had anything good to say about Berreth. We didn't discuss her a lot, but he would never say anything kind about her, Donahue told the court. She said that she called a tip-in for the case, saying Frazee told her Berreth took off shortly after their daughter was born, and that Frazee described Berreth as absolutely crazy. Donahue said that the 4 to 6 times she saw Kaylee, that she saw nothing that would indicate abuse or that the baby was anything but happy. Donahue then discussed a conversation she had with Frazee around December 19th of 2018. They had initially talked about the farrier work, and she asked how he was holding up. She said he asked if she saw the news, and she pressed him for details after hearing about Berreth. Donahue testified that Frazee told her Berreth's employer had called him and said their daughter's health insurance was going to expire at the end of January because Berreth hadn't maintained it, and that he told her employer that Berreth was getting up for work every day but evidently not going. She said he also told her Berreth went to rehab. Donahue told the court she didn't ask any further questions about the rehab, but noted that Frazee still had few good things to say about Berreth, and that he didn't talk about what he thought might have happened to her. The defense did not cross-examine Donahue, nor did jurors ask any questions. Donahue was excused for the day, but not released completely, and the court adjourned just after 4 p.m. Prosecutors told the judge they were ahead of schedule and needed to work on getting witnesses to Cripple Creek days before they expected to originally testify. Court is expected to begin again Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Okay, so wow, that was a lot of stuff today. Where's that? So, where are we? Where did my chat go? My chat totally disappeared. There we go. You took an Ambien? Okay. Where's the puppy? What, but you just can't let her walk around like that, because then that's not training her well. But no, but you're supposed to put her in the crate, and then take her out, put her on the. No, she's not too little. He. Okay. He's not too little, but you just can't let him walk around. You're just letting him like walk around. But you can't. Like I didn't even know he was loose, and then I'm like, what? Okay. He doesn't know anything about training a dog. Okay. It's 5:44. Oh, I thought you said 4:45. Okay. Sassy's good. Sassy. What would you say, Sassy? Didn't pay much attention, right? Not too much attention. It is so cold. Yeah. You're 6 degrees, Lisa? It's freezing. It's like 14. I hope it's going to warm up. This is ridiculous for November. You're 16 degrees, Hennessy? You don't believe Kelsey was bipolar? No, he lied about everything about her to make her seem crazy, just like the narcissist stuff. Smear campaign. Surely he's stuffed, isn't he? Blood under the floorboards, all these different witnesses. Yeah, I'd say it's looking a lot better for him to be, convicted of just more than conspiracy or anything like that. And they're not done yet. What are you picking up? Oh, in my safe and sound. Yeah, I at one point I didn't think we were gonna make it. Because when Jimmy says I fell asleep, I said I didn't fall asleep. I just closed my eyes for a minute, and when I woke up, I thought we were sliding, and I said, "Are we sliding?" And he said something like, because he probably didn't hear me, and he thought I said something else, and he said, "Yeah," and I said, "Oh my gosh, please pull off the road." And then he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because we're sliding." He's like, "No, we didn't slide." I hate weather like that. But then we got to Binghamton and it was smooth sailing. No snow from there down. It was like another world. You just passed right over into another world. He's so little. He's so little. The puppy's face is just way too adorable. Oh, wait till you see. Look at this. This is a pineapple for the puppy. Well, for Sassy too. Well, I've got to take some portraits of them in the pineapple hoodie. I've got to take them up to, I think I will put them up in the studio for their official, well, the puppy's official portraits, and then ones with Sassy. They're best buds. Yeah, well, Sassy always had Zoe. Isn't that cute? You have dachshunds, right? Best buds, yeah. What Charmed? Oh, I hope everything goes well for you, Charmed girl. Your mom is your mom. That's the old line. I'm not sleeping. He's like, why was your head? Look. You're off to work, Jessica. Have a good day.
He's not happy about that at all.
Well, he's not going to be happy until, but he's got to learn. Then you take him out. You put him on the paper by the door. If he goes to the bathroom, it's good, and then he can stay out. But if it's not, he's just going to like go somewhere, and then then you're going to be done. You're done in. Lisa, oh. So what else is going on? What do you think? I guess, I don't know. I guess when somebody tells you earth shattering, it was good. I mean, it was good testimony, but. If they're ahead of schedule, why didn't he ask them when they would figure out resting? He's getting older. He makes to him when they play. What, Texas? He's getting older. He makes to him when they play. It was worth it staying up just to see the pineapple outfit. I bathed our big baby today, got him smelling beautiful, and we were going to take him into the office for our next live stream tomorrow sometime, but he's about, oh yeah, what kind of dog, the Simple Choice? Oh, the lab Texas woman? What kind of dog is it? What is it, a Saint Bernard or something? Oh, I know it's still, I know, Janelle. I'll change it after this. I just had to go on, otherwise I would never go on tonight. I'll change it after this and change the picture. Oh, a Great Dane? Your stepdad would always say he's resting his eyes. But I squashed that when I stuck a pencil in his mouth, and he was sleeping in the chair. He woke up and threw the pencil across the room. Sounds like lovely. He must have loved that. With all we have heard till now, I can imagine PF will be found guilty. Yeah, Lonnie, I can see that more and more now. You know, that there's a very, at least before, but you never know. You never know. Never know. You know, I mean, look at Skylar. You never know. Look at Casey Anthony. You never know what's going to happen. So, anyway, I think I'm going to call it a night tonight because we've been going all day long. Literally, I had this live last night, and then I went to try to get some sleep, and Jimmy was like an hour and a half is what I got, and he was with the puppies. Did the puppy walk around his new backyard yet? No, he walked around a little bit outside in the front. What?
We walked around a little bit.
A little bit out in the front, but it's
About-
so cold. It's 14
About
degrees.
10 minutes.
Just 10 minutes, poor
We
little
went
thing.
back and I was trying to see
You're
if we could go back.
unpacking. Oh, yes, precious puppy, right? Yeah, absolutely. Your shipment? Your shipment? That sounds interesting. Get your new puppy, baby. Yeah, I'm going to go crawl into bed. I'm exhausted. But, hey, Evelyn. Yeah, I'm glad I made it home, too. I was oh my gosh, it was crazy for a while. But I'll tell you about the experience was a little crazy too. But anyway, no, I mean, just because it was a little out in the middle of nowhere, and it could, your mind goes to like crazy things. All right, but that driving, right? Yeah, I'm gonna sleep well now. Hopefully the puppy will too. All right, guys, thank you to our moderators. Thank you to everybody. Thanks. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. We'll see what happens in Frazee tomorrow.